while live streaming here on Twitch, once again, as I do every night, and dropping a little bit of advice, discussing how knowing is half the battle. One of our mods, Kurt Grosser, asked, what do you do when you want to create something about something you're passionate about, but don't have the drive to create? Well, that's a bit of an Ouroboros, right? A snake eating its own tail. You want to create something about something you're passionate about, but don't have the drive to create. Well, then how could you want it? You might want something, but if there's no drive, you don't really want it. Because if you want something, you should do it. You should go for it. What are you waiting for? A personal invitation? If it's something that you want, then you are responsible to do it, to get it, to achieve it, to start it, to finish it. It's all on you. So, are you looking for an external motivator? Or are you suggesting that there may not be enough internal motivation? It may be hard work. I don't know what you're suggesting that you might want. But if you're saying, again, that you want to create something in relation to something you're passionate about, you won't get very far without drive. Pardon me. Because drive... I should not have grabbed the carbonated beverage before starting the video. Without drive, you're not going to get anywhere. Think of it much like the driver of a vehicle, right? You're in the vehicle, but right now you're just a passenger. You're like, I want to get to that point over there. And to get to that point, I've got to drive this car. All right, well, I'm going to drive it. You're driving it. You're driving that goal. And it doesn't sound very creative. But ultimately, with any project or process, especially one that's new, something that may take a lot of energy, it's going to require drive. Because in the beginning of a project, man, everything's like hot. Yeah, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. Hey, and then suddenly, almost overnight, it seems that you're losing steam. You're like, yeah, I don't know, it was a little hard. I don't think I'm gonna do it anymore. And then you don't do it, and then you don't make it to your goal. You need that drive. You need that drive to sustain yourself, to allow you enough leeway to be able to complete that goal in creating something. But if it's something simple, not something that's difficult, you're holding yourself back. And more often than not, that's the case. I mean, it may very well be related to other resources, right? Maybe you don't have the skill. You don't have the talent. You don't have the ability yet. You haven't quite figured out how to get it done. Ultimately, I go back to that drive. You need the drive. I'd go as far as to say I'd be very hesitant to start any project without drive, because I've started many projects. I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll just see what goes on, what's happening. Then I may lose interest, or it's like, you know what, I did it and it wasn't for me. I didn't have the drive. There are times that I do have a drive, right? I have a focus. I have something that I want to accomplish, right? And I feel that I can accomplish it. And I have everything that I might need. And I may not do it perfectly, but at least I'm going to do it. But that's self-determination, right? So that's maybe a degree of self-confidence and self-reliance to be able to accomplish a particular task. But I've definitely been through many experiences where without that drive, despite me wanting to do something creative, it may not be enough to sustain that effort over whatever period of time. But that drive, that thing that just keeps you going, that drive. Take, for example, what I'm doing now. Live streaming on Twitch. Talking with people. 3D printing. Hanging out. Geeking out. Showing some packages that I got. Eating fun candy and snacks. Stuff. That's not really something that drives me to do this. It's fun and I enjoy it, but that's not my drive, right? This is creative. It's a form of expression. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's a chance for me to share bits of my life with everybody. And it happens that at this stage I've got a full-time job. So what I do with Twitch is very much secondary. So for me, I knew in order for me to do that, I had to find my reason to do it, to keep driven, especially when, maybe there are just two people who are, hanging out in chat, and I'm talking to myself. Is that going to give me enough drive? I don't know. Because I thrive on interactivity, right? And I know interactivity will come when I'm just making myself present. So that's my drive. Believe it or not, the community around what I do on Twitch, the live streams, keeps me driven. Nothing else. Not the 3D printing, not the Star Wars, not the showcases, nothing. It's the interactivity that I crave, because I don't necessarily get the same kind of interactivity with my job. And let me tell you, I've entered a stage with my work that I'm finding oddly satisfying, like surprisingly, like very fulfilling, and it's weird because I've never done a certain something before. It's very strange to me, but it's very intuitive, which is scary, because it's like I had no idea that part of me had the ability to do that and was interested in doing that. That's my work. And that requires a certain level of communication with team members, and certain amount of goal setting and work and focus. But I need something else. I want something else. And I'm not the type of person to go out and hang out in a bar, especially right now. Never really was to begin with. But to interact with people is something that drives me. So it's my creative outlet. I get a chance to be creative, have fun, throw on an Emperor Palpatine hood when the hype train starts on Twitch, showcase, new snacks sent by, friends, show off things that I just purchased. That's fun, but that's not my drive to do the stream. So I understand what you mean when you're saying you want to do something creative around something you're interested in, but you don't have the drive. That tells me you've got to find the drive. Or that thing that you want to do, you kind of have to keep retooling until you have the drive to complete the project. Because let me tell you, anything worth doing is worth doing well. Do it to your level of satisfaction. Don't just start it because you want to do something creative. Figure out what's going to drive you from the beginning to the end of that creative endeavor, knowing full well that you may change. That drive may change. It may shift. You're shifting gears, right? The road may change. You may have to shift. That may very well happen. It probably will. That would not surprise me. That's not a bad thing. Especially as you learn and mold and adapt, but you're still expressing yourself. When you're saying you're doing something creative, you're expressing yourself. You're doing something because you want to bring something into the world that didn't exist before. You want to make something happen through this creative process. Something that you enjoy. It's not enough. I enjoy a great many things, but I definitely don't have the drive to do everything around everything that I love. Certainly not everything creative around everything that I love. That's not my drive. I found my drive. You need to find yours. You will. Don't give up on it. Don't just abandon it. Keep thinking. Keep noodling on it. The answer may not strike you for years, right? Maybe get feedback, right? But figure out why you want to do it. Don't just figure out what you want to do. Figure out that why. And within that why, you're going to find so many answers, including potentially the how. But that why is your motivator. Why you're doing it, that's your drive. You feel me? You got the what. Now find the why. Figure out that why. Or if you're 3D printing the X, Y, Z. It's three-dimensional. Me, I'm, well, at least on this screen, completely two-dimensional.